Hello, YouTube. First of all, I'd like to say welcome back to the channel. I understand that it's been quite some time since my last video, probably sometime in the range of about 2 months, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. So I apologize to any viewers that were eagerly awaiting a new video release. But now I'm back on with Business with Chad, and today I wanted to talk about currency exchange rates, um, and how they have impacted the economy, because I understand that that's something that's been in the news recently. The last couple of weeks, people have been talking about how the euro has fallen in value relative to the dollar, and there's various factors in play with the global economy that could be causing that decline, and what are the implications of that. So I wanted to start off with, I don't know what the currency exchange rate is right now. I know it's been somewhere in the range of like a dollar. Euro's been like between $1.05 to like $1.15, somewhere around there. I'm sure I'm a few pennies off, which is very low because I remember last summer, which would be the summer of 2014, the exchange rate was like $1.30, $1.40 for a euro, so it was a lot higher, and it's fallen since then. And interestingly enough, I know with the U.S. equity markets, that's actually been seen by some investors as a bad thing. They've actually been kind of alarmed by that, and so some people have started selling certain securities and some of their portfolios, because that's actually a risky news development, that the euro has fallen relative to the dollar. And I think a lot of that has to do with exports. Obviously, European consumers, people in the European Union, the Eurozone, if they're not able to purchase as much, if their euro doesn't go as far as it used to, then they're going to cut back on their consumption, and they're going to buy more locally produced, or either locally produced or products that were produced in countries besides the U.S. that are not as closely tied to the dollar. And so I think that's really interesting, because you think that that would be a benefit to the U.S. economy, that U.S. exporters are able to. Um, oh no, I'm sorry, not importers. That U.S. consumers are able to purchase more from other countries, but it seems like it is bad for the exporters, and so for some investors, it's actually been a net negative. So that's really interesting. So my point with that, the reason why I brought that up is it made me think about the economics class, and how this view might be kind of antiquated, but I'm sure that a lot of economists still hold it, that every country should have a trade surplus, or a country should strive to achieve a trade surplus, meaning that they export more than they import. However, the only problem with that is that if you have a trade surplus and you are consistently exporting more than you import, then you are at risk of these sort of currency exchange rate factors, such as when the dollar gains value relative to the euro, then exporters aren't able to export as much to Europe, and then their business declines. So in this case, it's actually a risk factor for a company to have a larger currency surplus, and so it seems to me as if it's better to have a nice equilibrium, a nice balance in between having a trade surplus and a trade deficit, somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure what you would call that. I don't know if you call that trade breaking even or something else, but that seems to me to be optimal in order to shield a particular country from changes in interest, or not interest rates, and currency exchange rates. So that was one interesting observation that I had. And then along with that, I wanted to talk about some of the factors of the decline in the euro. It is very interesting how the crisis that has been going on there has been going on for quite some time. Um, I don't know exactly when it started, but I know that the U.S. and European economies are becoming more and more interlinked. And it is interesting to me that it seems like there's almost no improvement in some of the European economies. I understand that it's been very slow, and it's been kind of bothersome for people that are trying to get back into the job market in the U.S., with the economic recovery not being as fast as most would like. But it seems like in Europe, some countries, it's even slower. And so I wanted to touch on that, and of course you can't mention the slow growth of the European economy without touching on Greece. And so with Greece, I wanted to kind of touch on how they're struggling to pay off their debts and their loans, and how their creditors are becoming very concerned. I know that their credit rating has been dropped by the major credit rating agencies a couple times, and I think it's now at junk status, but I'm not sure. I'll have to check on that. So that's really interesting. So that makes me wonder how much longer is this going to continue? Because based on all the news articles and the updates I've read, it doesn't seem like it's really the end is anywhere near in sight. So I wanted to get the general public's input on that and see what people think is to what would your timeline be for when Greece can recover and come back and pay off their debt? It just doesn't seem feasible that it will happen within the next couple months or the next year or two. It seems like this is definitely going to be a long haul effort, and I know that there's a lot of talk about whether the euro is sustainable or whether there's going to be a breakup of the eurozone. I know that a lot of people have mentioned that there's a big movement in the UK to break away from the eurozone. And I know recently Greece, they demanded a large sum of money from Germany as World War II reparations for loans that they claimed they were forced to provide to Germany during the war. And Germany dismissed it, and they kind of thought that was outrageous that they would even bring it up. So that was very interesting. It seems like the situation in Greece is becoming increasingly dire instead of becoming more and more stable. And I know that more cuts are necessary, and that the unemployment rate is holding steady at a very high and alarming rate. So that makes me curious to see what their next steps are going to be. If there's going to be more unrest in Greece. I know that I've read about how the Greek government is thinking about hiring tourists from other countries to serve as kind of spies to help find people that are dodging taxes and to get them to pay their taxes. So that's certainly a very unique proposal. Not sure I've ever heard of that before. I mean, I guess you got to give them credit for being clever, but it sounds like the situation there is very dire. So I wanted to know what people's opinions are as far as the timeline for the Greek recovery, and when are they going to be, back in even the shape of the average European country? Um, Seems like there's quite a big gap between the largest and most prosperous countries in the eurozone, and then the smaller and the more down economies such as Greece. So that was interesting. So I wanted to know what people thought about that. Whether it was going to be, are we talking about months? It seems highly unlikely they're solve the problem in months. Whether it's a few years, whether it's many years, or maybe it's even a decade. Because that's certainly, the more news articles you read about Greece, the more it sounds like it's going to be, going on close to a decade or something. But hopefully that's doesn't turn out to be true. Hopefully they recover faster. But it's certainly very interesting. So I'd like to get everybody's opinions on that when they think that they're going to recover. And then also, what do you think about the future of the eurozone? Do you think that the UK is going to break off and kind of pursue a more independent path? Do you think that other countries will try to join? I know that there's been, I know that I think it was in 2013, July, I believe, of 2013, Croatia joined the European Union, and other countries are in the process of trying to join Albania, and a few others in Eastern Europe. And there's been some talk about Ukraine joining. I don't know how serious they are. I don't know if that's just because of Russia invading and annexing Crimea, or if it's because of some other, deeper systemic interest in aligning themselves more with Europe. I'm not sure if people would be discussing Ukraine joining the European Union if it wasn't for the Crimea situation last spring. So I want to get everybody's thoughts on that, and then also, what do you think about Iceland? I heard that Iceland is withdrawing their application to join the EU. I understand that they tried to do it, I guess, 2 years ago, and there was a lot of political backlash within their country against doing it, and so they kind of halted those plans. And then now I guess they have a new government, and so they formally and officially withdrew their application to join the European Union. So I'd like to know what people think about are other countries going to follow in Iceland's path and try to, if not, be like the UK and think about leaving it altogether, just not joining in the first place. So I'd like to get everybody's opinions on that. And sorry for the delay. Welcome back to Business with Chad. I hope everybody has a great day.